This is probably going to be one of the most important videos and most important topics we're going to talk about, inshallah. What is love for the sake of Allah, and what is basically just normal love? Love for the sake of Allah is when, well, it's honestly exactly what it says. It's basically loving each other for the sake of Allah. In other words, it's more like you don't know why you love them, but you feel like Allah wants you to love them. In a way, gives you signs about them, things like that. That's love for the sake of Allah. You love them because you feel like Allah wants you to love them. Subhanallah. And that's one of the most beautiful, if not actually the most beautiful love relationships that exists. And obviously when you love for the sake of Allah, for example, you're making a dua that you want a righteous partner from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a general dua. And you felt like He wants you to love this person. It turns into a specific dua about that person. Do you see what I mean? It has to be the most priority is religion, because Allah would never choose someone for you unless they're going to drive you closer to Him. And it goes from both sides. They can't just drive you closer to Him. You also have to drive them closer to Him. Through different ways, doesn't matter. But the point is, both of you drive each other closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now let's dive to the most important question that we've seen so many of us answer with the famous word that we all know: delusion, obsession. So, I've been making dua for this person for so long. I've been praying istikhara. I've been doing everything, praying tahajjud, coming closer to Allah. Everything keeps going the opposite. And you get told the famous thing: you're too obsessed with this person. You're too delusional. You don't care about you don't care about Allah. You care about this person. Here's, in my opinion, the best way to truly know about this. First of all, love for the sake of Allah is an unbelievable level. It's not comparable to any type of any other love. Not even comparable. So you know what that means. It means it comes with also incomparable tests. Unbelievable tests that come with it. So we need to know this. This helps to answer the delusion thing. SubhanAllah. So what are the telltale signs that can give you an idea this most probably is actually love, true love for the sake of Allah, and not anything else? The question: why do you love this person? If your main reason, because they look beautiful, they have blue eyes, they have, blonde hair, they look foreign, they look beautiful. If that's your main reason, chances are that is not love for the sake of Allah. If your main reason is, I don't know, but I do, I just love them, so you don't love something in them, like their body, their hair, And if you're asked, well, is their hair beautiful? Nothing more beautiful than their hair. Their eyes, nothing more beautiful than their eyes. Then that's, chances are, because your main reason you don't even know why, it's because it's love for the sake of Allah. SubhanAllah. Second thing is, when you are praying for them, keep in mind, guys, we're talking about love for the sake of Allah. Meaning, it's going to be the main priority religion because Allah's choosing, not you. So He's going to pick someone that drives you closer to Him, obviously. Why would He pick someone that doesn't drive you closer to Him? It's His choice. He's going to pick someone that makes sure you keep coming closer to Him. And yes, you also picked for that person, makes them come closer to Him. He's the just, remember? So our second question: why do you pray for this person? Are you planning on just making your du'as, and as soon as you get that person you're praying for, you're going to stop? Or are you planning on depending on Allah forever? Big difference. Because a lot of us, and it's not just love, and I've seen it, they keep praying for something, and as soon as they finally get it, what do they say? Basically, like, finally, alhamdulillah. That's it. Anything to thank Allah, increase your worship, anything, just alhamdulillah, and that's it. Nothing changed. Did their acts of worship increase? Maybe pray more nawafil, maybe trust Allah more, now that we've seen that He does answer du'as? No, just alhamdulillah. That happens a lot. So in love for the sake of Allah, remember that Allah's picking a partner for you, not just in this dunya, but the partner that's going to be with you in the afterlife. So again, that's why He chooses someone that both of you keep coming closer to Him through each other. So you have to be praying for them, but planning on praying to Allah forever, obviously. Keep coming closer to Him, increasing your acts of worship, and not simply doing it for the sake of getting that person, and as soon as you get that person, you stop those acts of worship that you've been doing. No. Third thing, are you taking action? Because you know any dua needs action. If there's action. If there is action that can be taken, you need to take those actions. Be mutawakkil, not mutawakkil. As we said in our video about tawakkul and tawakkul. Tawakkul is not loved by Allah. That doesn't get your du'as answered. Tawakkul is. So for example, we're talking about marriage here, right? Marriage is more than just love, guys. It's commitment. It's loyalty. It's responsibility. It's finances. So the reasons that you can take, or action that you can take as you're making dua for marriage, is obviously you need to be more responsible. You need to be more caring. You need to be more loyal. You need to be more of a good person. You're talking about love for the sake of Allah, keep in mind. So we're talking big morals, not just normal morals. Obviously also working, making money, because all of this is going to be a requirement once you marry that person. Fourth thing, I've heard this many times being said. The reason Allah removed them from you is because you're delusional, because you're too obsessed with them, because they're bad for you, and that's the reason why He removed them. If that were actually the case, then that would mean every prophet is delusional. Think of it this way. You have your prophets, especially let's say Prophet Yaqub, my favorite example. Prophet Yaqub, Prophet Yusuf was taken from him. Isn't that what they said? He was taken from him 40 years. Nothing but everything going the opposite. He's been told he's dead, eaten by wolves, that he's going to die of sickness. Prophet Yaqub is going to die of sickness. When his children told him he's going to die of sickness if he doesn't stop mentioning Yusuf. Their wives made fun of him. Everyone was making fun of him. He lost his second son with Yusuf and lost his vision. Was that because Allah's telling him Yusuf is bad for him? That he should stop that dua? Because he's delusional? He needs to stop it? So Allah's going to keep making it go the opposite to make him stop because it's bad for him? Or because He was testing him? See what I mean? So no, guys, not necessarily just because Allah took him away from you. It's because they're bad for you. They don't deserve you. They're a monster. No. Allah's testing you. Especially if it's love for the sake of Allah. Remember, the hardest, absolute hardest test you could possibly have, especially with love. Subhanallah. Remember, guys, that yaqeen develops in the face of an adversity. So you can't just keep going with what your eyes see. Because yaqeen is about heart, not eyes. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it Himself, which is it's not the eyes that are blind, it's the heart that is blind. your main connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always be for the heart. Your heart is what sees Allah. Your heart is what feels Allah. Your eyes do not see Allah. You don't see Him. You don't, but you do feel Him with your heart. You know He's there. You know He's watching you. That's because of your heart. Your heart is what sees the word kafir on Dajjal's forehead, not your eyes. Otherwise, we would have all seen it. See what I mean? A true believer uses their heart, not eyes. So istikhara, guys, needs to be prayed with yaqeen. Or, because it's so rare, at least the highest level of trust you can muster. Know that istikhara literally means tastakhir. You're asking Allah for guidance. So how can He misguide you when you come to Him for guidance? That's istikhara. Ya Allah, I want your choice. I want you to show me, is this good for me or is this bad for me? And then Allah misguides you and makes you go in the opposite. No, you can't make a wrong decision with istikhara. It's not the events that tell you the answer, it's your heart that tells you the answer. What if my heart is too obsessed with this person? You're asking Allah's guidance. Do you think He doesn't know that your heart is obsessed with this person? No. He knows everything. He's still going to guide you guys. SubhanAllah. But pray the istikhara with the highest you can. Yaqeen obviously is the best because it changes your entire life. Knowing you cannot make a wrong decision. And yes, yaqeen also comes with unbelievable tests with it, as you already know. Obviously. Because that's how it is. SubhanAllah. And also, are you getting any signs about this person? Signs that are undeniable. Because there is a very powerful dua that you can make. I've been saying to a lot of my comments this dua, by the way. When they're so confused, is it the love for the sake of Allah? Is this person meant for them? What is Allah actually just testing them, or are they delusional? And make this powerful dua. If you are delusional or obsessed, then you're not sure it's love for the sake of Allah, meaning you will be scared of making this dua, which is, Ya Allah, if this person is good for me, show me, please show me something that is undeniable, something I can just not refuse from you, something that reassures my heart that I am doing the right thing, I'm following your path with this dua. Basically, be specific and be detailed. And if they're bad for me, Allah, remove them from my heart completely. Make me love somebody else. Make them marry somebody else. Just keep them away from me. Don't make me love them. Please remove them from my heart. Help me to move on. That's why this dua is powerful and scary. Because a lot of us, hesitation is fine, but make the dua with yaqeen. Yes, yaqeen. Trust what Allah is going to do with this dua. You can't just make the dua and just, yeah, please remove them from my heart. No, you can't do that. You actually have to believe that. Because if you're so sure it's not delusion and it is meant to be and it is the love for the sake of Allah, then why are you afraid of this dua? Allah can't just remove them, right? Exactly. SubhanAllah. And by the way, if they're meant for you, both istikhara and that powerful dua will make you love them more. And the dua is going to become so powerful, the more you keep doing those, your heart is not going to allow you to give up or move on. You try, and you will move on, but it'll feel like one day has passed, you're going crazy, you can't. You have to make the dua. That is the power of the heart, guys. Nothing to do with the eyes. SubhanAllah. Because the istikhara is telling your heart the answer. But I don't know the answer, though I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. You asked for Allah's guidance. He is guiding you now. He's guiding you. But keep praying istikhara. And it will at some point make sense. But the events are going to... it has nothing to do with the events. It's the heart, not the events. Allah's going to test you. Like He always does. Like we said in our 3 miraculous stories, guys. See how He tests, subhanAllah. every time you ask him for something, he's going to test that. See what I mean? So even istikhara, he's going to test you. Not to mention, not a lot of us mention this, by the way, but it's very important, guys. There is this thing called an istikhara. No, there is not just it's bad for you or it's good for you. There is actually in the middle, which is it's good for you, but not right now. So right now it's bad for you, but Allah wants to make it good for you. So he delays it because he wants to make it more beautiful. And actually, that's usually the answer to your istikhara. Because whenever you ask Allah of something, even if he gives you exactly what you asked for, it's always going to be on a bigger scale, a much more beautiful picture than how you pictured it. But it is what you asked for. It's not someone different. It's not a replacement. It's not because the dua was bad for you. No. It's because that's what Allah does all the time. SubhanAllah. Like with Yusuf, when he was taken from his father, was it because he was bad for him? Was his father delusional? Allah took him from your heart because he's not good for you. He doesn't deserve you. He's bad for you. You're delusional. You're too obsessed with this person. No. He took him away because he wanted to make him into a much better servant than he was. He wasn't a prophet yet. And to make him the reason for the stop of the famine, to make him the reason for the blindness of his father to stop, to be cured, and to make him the reason to show that his father was not in fact crazy, and to show the brothers that were jealous of him why he's the favorite. SubhanAllah. See what I mean? All of this by taking him away from Yaqub. See what Allah does? Was it because it was bad for him? No. Because if that's the logic we keep going with, by the way, guys, I've been praying for this person, but then everything went downhill ever since I prayed istikhara. I wanted to marry them, and now things are not working out. Things are going the opposite. They went away from me. And so many of us, immediately the answer is what? Oh, because he's bad for you, because you're obsessed with them, you're delusional. Allah took him away from you because he's going to give you someone much better than them. But I can't move on from them. I tried to move on, but I can't. Well, you're weak. You're too delusional. Sorry. That's not a great way to talk to someone, guys. And second, that's not necessarily the answer. Allah could just want them to be better. Allah wants to prepare them to be closer to Him and prepare you. He prepares you both, by the way, in different ways, to come closer to Him. So when you are reunited with each other, you're so much closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You love each other a lot more than previous, because you look at each other as miracles and not as simply, I love this person. No, this person is a miracle. This person is the reason I literally got so close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they also say the same about you. See what I mean? SubhanAllah. But I know a friend that's been praying istikhara for 3 years. And the person they've been praying for married someone else. And they got replaced. So how do I know I'm not going to get that as well? Again, guys, the questions we ask. You don't know someone's full story. Why are they making the dua? Why did they lose this person? Did they get signs about this person? Did they get maybe a vision about them, a dream, a true dream from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about them? Any of this. You have to ask these questions. Were they making the dua for Allah's sake and to do it forever? Or is it as soon as they only pray tahajjud and istikhara because as soon as they get that person, they'll stop praying those things? And yes, people do that, by the way. See? So remember, you were praying istikhara. You kept praying istikhara, provided that you do it with yaqeen, of course, or a high level of trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I cannot make a wrong decision. This is Allah's guidance. Even if I don't know what's going on, I am following His guidance. So I cannot pick the wrong choice. Exactly. SubhanAllah. My heart will tell me the answer. It will, wallahi. But you have to keep praying istikhara. The more you pray, the more the answer becomes clearer. I had to pray istikhara for about a year, by the way. For about a year straight. Just to understand my mixed signs. Because I kept getting mixed signs. I understand, but then all of a sudden I don't understand. But then I understand again, but then I don't understand. As I kept praying istikhara, even though the mixed signs did not stop, my heart told me the answer now. I understood. See what I mean? So be patient, guys. If this truly is, you answer those questions truthfully, and it's love for the sake of Allah, know that the tests are going to be severely difficult, extremely difficult. So be patient. Be patient. If you try to move on, you won't be able to. And even if you move on after you've been praying so much of the istikhara and everything with the yaqeen and a high trust in everything, you won't be able to move on. Even if you try to move on, Allah will intervene and make you make the dua again. Subhanallah. Because He wants to give it to you. He put the dua in your heart. Because He wants to give you that person. Not because He wants to take them away from you. He just wants to make them much better than how you pictured them. Not replace them with someone that is better. Make them better and make you better to them. Subhanallah. Make them look at you as a miracle and make them look at you as a miracle. Instead of just looking at someone you love. Remember, love for the sake of Allah is a whole other level of love. It's not even a comparison. So don't try to compare it to other normal love. I look around me on Instagram, I see these people just getting married left and right, while my dua just made everything worse. They just keep getting away from me, but I cannot even move on. It makes my life so difficult. I feel like I'm just going to become an old man before I finally get married. Remember, love for the sake of Allah is a whole other level of love. Wallahi, it's not even a comparison. You can't compare it to that kind of love. You can't even compare it. Because once you experience it, it's indescribable. And you can't even explain it to somebody else because of how beautiful and powerful it is. So the next time, because unfortunately you will get that a lot, the next time you're called delusional, you're crazy, you're stupid for making this dua, you're obsessed with this dua, you need to stop making this dua, stop making the dua so specific, ask Allah. And make the powerful dua we agreed on, which is, Ya Allah, if He's good for me, do this, and if He's bad for me, do this, remember? And make it with yaqeen, or a high level of trust, the most trust you can muster in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But don't make it and just, no. Make it with your heart. Talk to Allah with your heart. We've made a video about that, guys. SubhanAllah. So talk with your heart. Talk not in dua language to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it actually comes from your heart. Talk like you're talking to somebody else, because that makes it come from your heart. Do the same with Allah. Tell Him about your day. Tell Him about your struggles. Tell Him about your problems. Don't just, Ya Allah, help me solve my problems, please. But as soon as you come to some other servant, please, you have no idea how much I'm struggling, my pain, I've been suffering like this for years, I can't... Tell me which one is literally from the heart and which one is just, see what I mean? Why don't we speak like that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Subhanallah. The more you make the dua longer, the more it's going to keep coming from your heart. So keep doing that. Keep making that dua. See what happens. You fall in love with them more. Trust Allah. Don't trust what people tell you. Trust Allah. You cannot make a wrong decision with istikhara, guys. Remember. Subhanallah. Provided that you're praying it, of course, with the high level of trust, as we said. This is actually something I firmly believe in as well. If you talk to Allah 24/7, you always come to Allah for guidance, even over the stupidest things. You keep talking to Him. And not just in dua language. You talk to Him, you tell Him about your day because you know He's the listener. He loves to listen to you. Then He will never allow a bad dua to enter your heart. Were there any prophets that could make bad duas? No. And don't say because they're prophets they get no. Even someone that keeps coming closer to Allah Wallah Azim, you will not be able to make a bad dua because Allah is not going to allow it. A bad dua means it's bad for you. You keep talking to Allah, you keep coming closer to Him. So how is Allah going to allow a dua that is bad for you to enter your heart to begin with? Allow you to make it. He won't. You will immediately stop that dua. See what I mean? Subhanallah. Another very good one is your du'as are a lot more beautiful for that person, a lot more specific, and not just, Ya Allah, I want to marry this person. No, it goes a lot more detail, a lot more beauty to it. It's about closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for example, what was my main dua? What is my main dua for my person? Wallahi, it's actually wanting to recite Quran with her, and that was it's my main dua, and to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with her. More than marriage. Marriage obviously is there, but that too. So do you see what I mean? That's when it's love for the sake of Allah. The dua is more than just marriage. I just want to be with them. I just want to see them. No. It's a lot more detailed. It's about closeness to Allah. Subhanallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reunite us with our loved ones. And for all the people that are making prayers, du'as for their loved ones, may Allah unite them together in this world and the next. Ameen.